There is a specific moment in the death of a relationship that is more painful than the breakup itself. It isn't when the bags are packed. It isn't when the words, "it's over," are spoken. It is the weeks, the months, maybe even the years before the end. It is the moment she looks at you and she realizes that you are no longer there. Your body is in the room, you are eating the meal, you are sleeping in the bed, but you, the man who used to look at her with hunger, with curiosity, with adoration, have checked out. Many men think that if they don't say the words, the relationship is still alive. They think they can quiet quit the relationship, pulling back effort slowly to avoid the conflict of a breakup. They think this is kind. They think this spares her feelings. But psychology tells us that ambiguity is a form of torture. When you lose interest but lack the courage to admit it, you force the woman you claim to love into a psychological war zone. In this video, we are going to dissect the anatomy of this realization. We are going to walk through the 5 stages of a woman's internal reality when she realizes she is holding on to a man who has already let go. This is not just a story of heartbreak. It is a story of how confusion turns into clarity, and how a woman eventually moves from begging to be chosen to choosing herself. Phase 1 is the intuitive alarm. You have to understand the female nervous system. Women are evolutionarily wired for attunement. Historically, their survival and the survival of their offspring depended on their ability to read the social environment and detect subtle shifts in tribal safety. This mechanism hasn't disappeared. It has just moved into dating. She is a human seismograph. Long before you admit to yourself that you are bored, she knows. She doesn't know it with her cognitive brain yet. She feels it in her gut. It's a low-grade hum of anxiety. She notices the micro-behaviors you think are invisible. She notices that the emojis have disappeared from your texts. She notices that you stopped asking follow-up questions about her day. She notices that when she touches you, your body stays rigid for a split second before relaxing. A mechanical hesitation. At this stage, she gaslights herself. She thinks, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just insecure. She rationalizes your behavior to protect her own heart from the truth. He's just stressed about the project at work. He's just tired. She is fighting a war between her instinct, which says danger, and her hope, which says safety. But the alarm is ringing. The frequency of the connection has shifted from a major key to a minor key, and deep down, the music sounds wrong. This denial leads to phase 2, the agony of ambiguity. This is, without a doubt, the most destructive phase for her mental health. Because you haven't broken up with her, she is trapped in a state of cognitive dissonance. Her heart remembers the man who loved her. Her eyes see a man who tolerates her. By lingering in the relationship out of cowardice, or because you want to keep her as a backup plan, you force her into limbo. She starts to question her sanity. This is a trauma response. She asks you, "Is everything okay? You seem distant." And what do you say? "I'm fine. You're overthinking it. Stop being so dramatic." Gentlemen, this is unintentional gaslighting. You deny her reality to preserve your own comfort. So she spirals. She becomes an investigator of her own life. She rereads texts from 6 months ago to compare them to today. She analyzes the tone of your voice. She lives in a state of chronic cortisol spike. She is constantly on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. She is starving for emotional nourishment, and you are feeding her silence. It destroys her confidence piece by piece. She starts to feel small, annoying, and burdensome. When the anxiety becomes too much, she enters phase 3, the bargaining stage. In grief psychology, bargaining is an attempt to regain control. Her logic tells her, if he is pulling away, it must be my fault. If I fix myself, he will come back. She enters a state of hyper-functioning. She becomes the perfect girlfriend. She swallows her needs. She stops complaining. She cooks your favorite meals. She dresses up just to sit on the couch. She tries to be the cool girl, the girl who is breezy, low maintenance, and fun. She is pouring 110% of her energy into a black hole. She believes that love is a transaction. If I give enough, I will earn his love back. But here is the tragedy of this phase. Her effort repels you. Because you have already checked out, you view her kindness as desperation. You view her attention as smothering. The more she tries, the more you retreat. The more you retreat, the harder she tries. It is a death spiral, and she is burning herself alive trying to keep you warm, while you stand there complaining about the smoke. And then, inevitably, the battery dies. This is phase 4, the switch. It usually happens in a quiet moment. Maybe you ignored her call. Maybe you forgot a date. Maybe you made a callous joke. Something inside her snaps. The pain of being undervalued finally outweighs the terror of being alone. She looks at you and the halo effect disappears. She doesn't see the man she fell in love with. She sees a coward. She sees a stranger. She realizes, it's not that he can't love me. It's that he chooses not to. The grief instantly transforms into detachment. Sadness turns into resolve. Warmth turns into ice. She stops asking, "What's wrong?" She stops initiating contact. She stops fighting for your attention. This is the danger zone. Most men mistake this silence for peace. You think, "Oh good, she finally relaxed." No, she didn't relax. She resigned. She has emotionally checked out of the building. She is still physically present, but she has begun the process of decoupling. She is untangling her life from yours, secretly, quietly, and permanently. Finally, she reaches phase 5, rebirth and resilience. By the time you realize what is happening, by the time you maybe sense the distance and try to scramble to get her back, it is too late. The window has closed, locked, sealed. She has already mourned you. She did the grieving while she was laying next to you in bed feeling alone. She cried her tears in the shower so you wouldn't hear. She has processed the loss. And now? She emerges from the fire of your rejection not broken but forged. She realizes that her worth was never dependent on your inability to see it. She learns the most powerful lesson a woman can learn. Being alone is infinitely better than being with someone who makes you feel lonely. She becomes untouchable. When she finally leaves, there is no screaming match. There is no drama. There is just a quiet, dignified exit. She chooses herself. She reclaims her crown. And the man who treated her like an option is left with the only thing he offered her: empty space. To the men watching, if you have lost interest, have the courage to say it. Do not torture a woman with your silence. Do not keep her as a placeholder until you find something better. Give her the respect of a clean break. And to the women watching, if you are in the fog, if you are feeling the coldness, trust your intuition. Do not beg for a seat at a table where you are not being served. The moment you realize you are losing him is the moment you must start finding yourself, because the only closure you need is the reality of his behavior. If this video spoke to your soul, hit the like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into the human heart. I'll see you in the next one.